Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. This is Scenario A2 with the character Damiel, the second adventure in the whole campaign. So Damiel is over at the Mumia lab. We're at this location. At the start of your turn, succeed at a Constitution 4 check or suffer the Scourge Curse of Withering. Alright, so that's what's going on. Let's go ahead and get started. Advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of Wadjet. Our exploration. Actually, we have to roll for the Mumia Lab. So, Damiel has a Constitution of D8. Okay, so not too bad. Let's go ahead and roll D8. And that's it. Oh, he rolls a 7. So he does make his check there. So now he will explore, and he gets crocodile skin armor. So once again, Damiel's Constitution and Fortitude are both D8, and we rolled a 4. So we do not acquire this boon; it gets banished. Looking at Damiel's hand, he likes it. Advancing the Blessings deck, rolling for the Mumia Lab. Constitution 4 check. So we roll a 2. So unfortunately, Damiel suffers the Curse of Withering. Alright, so that really sucks, but that's the reality. So now, he is exploring, and wow, well that's a Ally 5. Interesting, so an Ally 5 does not belong at this location. So unfortunately, I will have to draw another ally, a random ally from the box. That's of the appropriate level. Okay, this is a lot better. The Mumia Smuggler. Alright, so Charisma Diplomacy 8. Let's see. Damiel has a Charisma of D4. But thanks to the Curse of Withering, it says, while displayed during your check, when you assemble your dice, replace all of your highest sized dice with the same number of the next lower sized dice. Okay, well it doesn't get any lower than a D4. So that means that this will be an auto fail for Damiel. Unless he'd want to use a blessing, he could roll 2d4 and try to get an 8. But as it is, the Mumia Smuggler, the boon is banished. Alright, let's go ahead and continue this campaign. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's the Blessing of the Elements. We will explore. We get a Healer's Kit. So it's a Wisdom Survival Divine 6. Well, Damiel has a, let's see, his intelligence, well it's a wisdom. His wisdom is D6. Thanks to Curse of Withering, he will just have a D4. So this, in itself, looking at his hand, he does have a Blessing of the Elements in his hand, but he'll want to keep that for an emergency. So the Healer's Kit is an auto fail. So it does not acquire that. Alright, advancing the Blessings deck, and we get the Cursive Poisoning. So now, Damiel has Cursive Withering and Cursive Poisoning to deal with. And exploring, we get an Emperor Cobra. So Stealth 6 check or Combat 8, it's an Animal Poison Basic. If the check to defeat has a Cold or Fire trait, add 1d8. When the Emperor Cobra would deal damage to you, it deals 1 poison damage instead. Alright, so that's actually not too tragic because we already have the Curse of Poisoning. So in that case, oh, so sweet. So we do have the Torch, which has the Fire trait. So for your combat check, reveal this card to use your Strength through melee +1. You may additionally discard to add another 2d4. So we are going to discard it so that we can, so Damiel's strength is a d4, but since we discarded it, we can add another 2d4. So there's another d4, assembling my dice, and 2d4. Curse of Withering says we have to turn all those lower, but that's as low as it gets. And but since it has the fire trait, we would be able to make that add the D8, but thanks to Cursive Withering, the D8 turns into a D6. Alright, so these are our dice, and we can grab those D4s. And now we're going to try to do a combat 8 check. Alright, so we rolled a 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. Can you believe that? So 4, 5, 6, 7. We only rolled a 7 and we needed an 8. But the torch gave us a +1 modifier. Whew. So we defeated the Emperor Cobra just on the nose. Alright. Emperor Cobra is banished. So we are going to now reset Damiel's hand and rolling for Cursive Poisoning. See which card we're recharging. We are recharging the Blessing of the Elements. That kind of sucks. Advancing the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of Pharasma. And exploring, we get the Baited Jewel Box. We have to roll. We don't have to roll for the Mumia Lab anymore because we already have the Cursive Withering. You can't gain 2 of them. That'd be interesting if you actually did get 2 if you got less and less dice. Well, Baited Jewel Box. It's a disable 6 or a craft 8. Well, Damiel has a D10 for his craft, and his craft score is a +2 modifier. So, let's see what he's going to do. The Cursive Withering turns that D10 into a D8, and that is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead. I guess we'll go ahead and do the. We'll do craft +2 modifier, but then we have to roll an 8. Or we could do the disable, and our modifier will be a +1. We'll do disable. Nope. That die just fell on the floor, so let's get another one. Alright, so we rolled a 5, +1 is 6, and we were doing the disable. So we do defeat the Baited Jewel Box. It says the difficulty to defeat was increased by the scenario's adventure deck number. This is Scenario B. So it says if defeated by less than 4, you are dealt 1d4 poison damage, then draw 2 items from the box. Alright, so we defeated it by less than 4. So the boon is banished. We have to take all this damage. We take 3 points of poison damage, which really sucks. 3 points of poison damage, but we do get 2 random items from the box. Okay, so shuffling up the item deck, let's see what was in the Baited Jewel Box. It was, we get the Feather of Matt, and we get the Ghost of Battling Ring. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, our last campaign, which was with the character Drelm, the Feather of Matt made an appearance and a reappearance. But the Ghost Battling Ring, that's a really cool item. And I think Damiel's going to want to keep or hold on to that. So we have to reset our hand, slowly losing cards, rolling for Cursive Poisoning. We are going to actually recharge that Ghost Battling Ring. And now we will explore. Okay, we get the Fiery Glare spell. Intelligence, well, Damiel has an intelligence of D10, which is lowered to the D8 thanks to the Cursive Withering. That means you'll have to roll an 8 here. Rolls a 6. So it does not acquire the Fiery Glare spell. Resetting the hand, rolling for Cursive Poisoning, we get a 6. We have to re-roll that because Damiel only has a hand size of 5. So the third card, Tussa Silk Cloak, gets recharged. Alright, now we will advance the Blessings deck and explore. Frost Staff, Arcane Divine. Damiel only has a D4 in that category, so that is an auto fail. Resetting the hand, rolling for Cursive Poisoning. 5. We have to recharge our Blade Guard. Probably should have used that. So now we're going to advance the Blessings deck. We already have the Cursive Withering, so we don't have to roll for that. And okay, we are exploring and encountering the villain of this scenario. For this scenario, I'm counting henchmen as villains, just in the purpose that they, excuse me, automatically defeat or close locations. So it says here, before you act, succeed at an intelligence or perception 6 check, or we are dealt 1 poison damage. Alright, well, Damiel does have the intelligence of D10, but thanks to Cursive Withering, that's only a D8. So we will go ahead and roll that. Alright, we rolled an 8. So that worked out. So now we have to either do a Wisdom, Charisma, Diplomacy. So Damiel, his Wisdom is just a D6. With the Cursive Withering, that'll be a D4. Or a Combat 11. So we will go ahead and do the Combat 11. We have a Noxious Bomb. For your combat check, banish this card. And since we're Damiel and an Alchemist, we can just discard it. So we can use our Dexterity or Range skill plus 2d6. Well, Damiel's Dexterity is a D10, but the Cursive Withering will turn that to a D8. We'll have another 2d6 here. We are going to use a Blessing of the Elements. So we'll add an additional D8. Let's go ahead and roll some of my dice here. And that's it. So rolling these dice, we get to add +2 to the roll, thanks to the Noxious Bomb. And let's see what we get. So we get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8. Is 15 plus 2, 16, 17. Alright, so we readily defeated the Dark Slayer and closed this location. And yeah, this is a very challenging location. I'm really glad that I'm trying this out for the campaign. I think, yeah, a really cool adventure. The only shenanigan is I accidentally left this Cloud Elemental in from the last scenario. But it'll go back into my level 5 box where it belongs. Alright, let's go ahead and do a deck check for Damiel. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. And let's see what he's got in his deck. And you will see what he acquired from the last campaign. So he has Armored Kilt here. He acquired the Feather of Mat this turn. Or this scenario, I should say. He's got a Blade Guard, Tussled Silk Cloak, Ghost Battling Ring. That's a really cool thing. I'm going to think about keeping that. He's still held on to the Daba, Acid Flask. He only has Blessings of the Elements. There's a Blowgun. Damiel was able to recharge and reset his hand. He decided to keep the Shock Lizard. Okay, that is the state of Damiel's deck. As you can see, the spell slot is empty because he does not have any spells. So the reward for that scenario was the Scarab Buckler. That is the reward for every second scenario of every campaign. So he'll definitely keep that, and he'll probably be tossing the Armored Kilt. So we'll keep that loot item. And as it is, we will go ahead and meet our pal, Falsing Deke. And let's see what kind of items he's offering us. So, shuffling up the item deck here, we're going to visit a trader, or a merchant, as I like to say. And going to go ahead and just roll a D10, a D10 and a D6. So, okay, third item down, and third item down. Alright, so this is what Falsing Deke is offering. He's offering a Flash Freeze and an Acid Flask. Well, unfortunately we already have these two items. They're really not that interesting. So right off the bat, we'll say thank you, Falsing Deke, but not interested in your wares. So then the question will be, what kind of, what's his item deck going to be? I'm thinking we're just going to toss one of the alchemical things and keep the Ghost Battling Ring, because it can be pretty cool. I mean, the Feather of Mat adjusts dice as well. So maybe I'll go ahead and keep the Feather of Mat. So I'm not sure at this point, but really got some cool loot out of that scenario. Very challenging due to that Cursive Withering and the location. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and I will have another scenario up shortly.